right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Thursday. By the way, coming up in hour number 3. Been wanting to interview this guy for a long time. What a talent. Terry Fader will be joining us. Little controversy with a Donald Trump puppet in his act. We'll get to that coming up. Also, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports will be joining us. But this is a story that we had to talk about because it's classic. And I really feel bad for this guy. A 56-year-old Disney security guard was, quote, buck naked when he showed up to a house in Polk County to purchase sex from an undercover deputy. The guy walked up to the front door of this home in a neighborhood on a cool evening, buck naked, according to the police chief there. Video and audio of this. So I want to play a little bit of this interaction between this security guard and an undercover prostitute. Here it is.
Come inside and get warm.
Oh, I'm warm. You're the only one home? Yeah. Nice.
So since you're already naked, let's get started. Do you have the money?
I do. There's nobody gonna run out of the corner like a cop or anything like that?
No.
Okay. I gotta take the extra 10 out because you wouldn't show me you were naked.
10? Wow, that's cheap.
Just
a cheap,
anal sex,
cheap prostitute.
Right? And blowjob?
Yep.
Okay.
Now I'm waiting for cop.
All right, money's good. You wanna sit down? I'll get us a drink.
All right, well, let me explain to you what we're listening to here. So this guy is completely naked walking into this home. First of all, if you're going to pay for a prostitute, why would you show up to the door naked, first of all? Can't you just wait and take your clothes off when you get to the room? That's number one. Number two, we're talking about an extra $10. You want to talk about a cheap prostitute? I would say that would raise a red flag. I've been pretty open and honest about this. I think prostitution should be legal everywhere. I do believe there should be zoning involved, kind of like what they do with the marijuana dispensaries. I don't think you should have a dispensary everywhere on every street corner next to a school. But I do think prostitution should be legal because I think it would benefit the women and the men in these situations. So he shows up naked. Now, his life is completely ruined. Let me explain why. Do I think this guy is a violent criminal? No. Do I think he deserves to go to jail? No. But obviously he's done at Disney. So the police chief decided to hold a press conference with a big picture of his face at this press conference, talking about the details. So here is the county sheriff explaining the charges against this gentleman.
Rodney Davis, 56, from Winter Garden. He's a Disney security guard. He's married, been married 27 years. We charged him with soliciting. He brought him a Viagra pill. But he didn't have a prescription for it, so that's another criminal charge.
Oh.
Have Viagra will travel?
Was it from Russia?
Okay, here's what you're not going to believe. Maybe you're not going to believe any of it. It's hard to believe any of this. I mean, people who live in what I call the normal world, this guy walked up to the front door of this home in a neighborhood on a cool evening, buck naked. Now, if you don't know the difference in naked and buck naked means you're not even wearing your socks. He didn't have a stitch of clothes on, but he was carrying a shirt, I guess in case of an emergency. He walked into the house. He was proud of himself. That's up for debate. But the detectives promptly took him into custody and gave him some breeches to put on.
Okay, first of all, let me just, as a reporter, this is one of the strangest press conferences I've ever seen in my life. Just going after this guy's character. Obviously, he's got some problems when you show up naked. Yeah. By the way, if you want to see the video of this, it's on our Twitter page. You got to see it. It's awesome. The Vegas Take Twitter page. Here's the issue I have with this. This guy obviously made a big mistake. Obviously, he broke the law. There's no denying that. Him showing up naked just makes it really strange. It kind of reminds me, there was an episode of To Catch a Predator where a guy shows up naked to an underage person. I'm like, what are you doing? Isn't it bad enough that you're breaking the law?
Right.
That's a more serious crime, in my personal opinion, than, trying to get a prostitute. Obviously, the guy wants sex. He wanted to pay for it. It was against the law there. He wasn't in Pahrump. But why would you show up naked? That's strange. What's even worse is that the guy's been married 26 years. What does his wife think of all this? This guy's done. Like, his career is over. I actually feel bad for this guy because, like I said, he's not a violent criminal. But my question is, why are you showing up naked to this prostitute's house? You couldn't wait. He was so excited that he couldn't wait a couple minutes to take his clothes off.
I wonder if she sent him a picture like beforehand. Maybe she was like that hot.
I don't understand. But even if
He
she
took the Viagra.
is,
He was trying to. He wanted to hurry up and make sure that he performed at optimum level.
Did he have an erection?
you're asking me. I didn't. How the hell am I supposed to know?
Well,
I
they said he had the
I
Viagra.
wasn't looking at his PP.
So he brought a pill.
Yeah.
So
He shows up completely naked to this $10 prostitute's home.
I don't know
I
if
know
it was
an extra. That was.
I think
extra.
that was an
He
extra
got
for-
50.
for what? For what?
for oral
Hey,
sex.
They doing anything for $40 now.
Yeah.
And so when she asked
How do you know
him-
that, Campaign?
I'm just letting you know, man.
Well,
I heard through the grapevine, $40 to get you a good time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Well, when she asked him about the oral sex, that was actually where he got himself in trouble because
Yeah.
once you confirm that
Yeah.
you are compensating the prostitute for that specific act, you're actually soliciting.
Boy, you know a lot about this, JD. Do you have experience in this field?
I do not have experience. in
Let
this
me tell you
field.
something. That dude, this is not the first time that dude did this. Understand that. He just didn't wake up that day, and his wife and all that other stuff. He has done this before. Maybe
but
not
let me
sort
ask
of
you guys.
naked.
Let me ask you guys a question though, because I think what the police chief did was inappropriate.
Yeah, the police chief painted this guy as if he was some type of murderer.
Let me ask you guys this question. We know that he broke the law. I think what makes this even worse, for him at least, is that he shows up naked. I mean, what if there's a kid or, there's a young family, we understand. It was completely inappropriate. I don't think he wanted that to happen. I don't understand. I would ask him, why the hell did you show up naked? That's wrong. He committed a crime. We don't want people walking around naked. I get that. But at the same time, there's a lot of violent criminals out there. There's a lot of bad people in the world. I don't think this guy's a bad guy. I think he's got probably some mental problems and he's got some issues. You hold a press conference and
like anyone else, he wants to have sex, which is a pretty.
Not everybody wants to have sex.
We'll say
You
90.
want a meaningful relationship.
We'll say 98 to 99% of the country, or if human beings are interested in having.
I know
sexual
people that are
relations.
associated with this show that don't want to have sex. So it's not the case with everybody.
Some people who want to, like it almost. No, I'm not gonna go there.
Anyway,
I'm not
but going back to what I was saying, I thought it was inappropriate what this police chief did. He holds his press conference. There's members of the media that are laughing at this poor guy's expense. Yes, he broke the law. Yes, he committed a crime. To talk about his marriage, to me, is so beyond inappropriate. I mean, we've talked about, there's been press conferences before with rapists that have been married. They don't talk about his marriage life and all that stuff. Why are you talking about this guy's marriage and personal life? Completely inappropriate. They're making a mockery of this, and I think it's wrong. I'm not defending this guy's actions, although I do believe that if you solicit a prostitute, yes, while it's against the law, if you're not a violent criminal, I don't think we need to hold a press conference.
I think part of it is because they're trying, because he's sort of a part of law enforcement, even though he's a security guard. He's not a police officer. He's not a cop, and I think that they're trying
Disney
to.
law enforcement.
Yeah, Disney owns a lot of things. Campaign.
Yes, they do.
I mean, they're a $200 billion company right now. But I think that they're trying to make an example of this guy because he's making people. He is making those in law enforcement look bad.
I'll pose this
I think
question.
that has a lot to do with why, or either that, or this bet naked. This police chief has some type of personal relationship with this guy in a negative capacity that we don't know about.
Let me ask her.
It doesn't make any sense to take this guy's picture and put it up like he's a fugitive. Like the way that they did, and that's what they did.
Well, I'm sure there were other people too,
that's totally over
along
the
with
top.
that sting that they probably could have did too. But
Let me ask
but
this.
even when you do that, you have a sting, and you've got like 50 or 60.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're called
Yeah.
Johns, but you have a little tiny thumbnail. You don't have one of their pictures just blown up. You don't have that. That doesn't happen very often.
that's what they're called, Johns?
Let me ask this question to our listeners, and we'll open up the phone lines. And I guess it's kind of a two-part question here. Number one, what this guy did, showing up naked and soliciting a prostitute, do you think the police chief acted appropriately in kind of making a mockery of this guy? So that's my first question. And then my second question is, do you think that it is fair, and are you okay with police officers holding these types of sting operations for men that are trying to pay prostitutes for sex? Are you okay with that? I'm actually not okay with it. I think there are better things, because there are better things that I think police officers can do with their time than to try to get several females and get a prostitution sting and try to lure men into paying them for sex and then arresting them. I think our tax dollars could be spent more wisely than that. So let me open up the phone lines. What do you think about that? We're talking about this guy, this Disney security guard who showed up to this prostitution sting buck naked, and then the police chief is kind of making a mockery of this guy. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, that number if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I believe our tax dollars could be spent more wisely than setting up some sort of prostitution sting where you get some women that try to lure men in for sex. And then, I don't know. I just think there are better things that we can do as police officers with our time than these types of stings. That's just my personal opinion.
I think they use it as a deterrent. Like it's supposed to be like when you do that, and then like it's supposed to deter someone from thinking about doing it the next time. Like, like I don't want my picture being posted or whatever. I think that's what it's for. But can they be doing something better with their time? Probably, but does it maybe that one arrest leads to something else?
Just to give you a little bit of background,
the majority of these things they're predicated on stopping child trafficking, because a lot of these prostitutes are children or underage 16 to 18-year-old girls from different countries that are forced into the sex slavery life, and they're trying to find those traffickers, and that's usually where most of these things are predicated from. But they do cost taxpayers a lot of money, and in a situation like this where there is no child trafficking involved, where it's just a police officer and a 57-year-old man who's been married for 27 years who happens to be a security guard, I think they went way over the top.
Just to give you a little bit of background on this, a total of 124 people were arrested, 5 of which had the intent to sexually harm a child. Now, make no mistake about it, those people, so you can make the argument it was worth it to get those people off the street.
But they should be made an example of much more than this guy should.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. This guy wasn't trying.
And that's the issue.
I don't want to defend what he did, but this guy wasn't trying to harm a child. If you really want to hold a press conference and go after somebody, go after the ones that are trying to go after children. Yeah. Not a guy, he showed up naked. It was a horrible decision.
When you go to Pahrump and you go to what's it called, the Cat House, or what's it, the Bunny Ranch?
There's a bunch of them.
You go there because you want relatively effort-free, no strings attached, sexual enrichment. That's what you're going there for, and that's exactly what this guy wanted too.
That was a pleasant way of saying it.
But that's what it is. And is that illegal? You don't want to court someone for 2 or 3 weeks. You want to just
2 or 3 weeks
or whatever the process is. You don't want to go on a bunch of
whining
dates.
and dining for 2 or 3 weeks. Look at that, JD the gentleman.
You don't want to put the effort in. No, you just want that. That's what this is all about.
Campaigns like one night.
You want to go to the Bunny Ranch. You want to spend X amount of dollars, and you know what you want in return for. And that's exactly what this guy wanted too.
It's also when you go up to the bunny ranches and things like that. So from what I have heard, they'll do a little something strange for some change. Like sometimes people have fetishes that you just can't ask your wife to do. Like, what I'm saying? She's not going to do the things like Sally up there in Pahrump Pahrump gonna get down and get with.
Right, and I understand because she's more experienced, and it's great that they found those five gentlemen who wanted to get involved.
And they
should have
put them on. They should have put them on the news.
And that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So just to give you a little more details,
that should be made an example of.
53 people were arrested for prostitution. It's a second-degree misdemeanor. It's not a felony. And 46 were arrested for seeking the services of a prostitute. That's also a first-degree misdemeanor. So we're not talking about felonies here, but for those that are going after children, like for example that show To Catch a Predator, yes, it was very entertaining and funny, but at the same time sad. All those people, all of them that were arrested, I have no problem with that sting and what they were doing, because if you're going after a child, that is, to me, that is far worse.
Yeah, off the
far
top.
worse than soliciting a prostitute that is over the age of 18.
Especially if you're pretending to be a woman or a guy of similar age, and you're representing, you're basically
anything dealing with kids.
You're falsely advertising yourself to trick a child into thinking that you are what you are, so you can take advantage of them. Obviously, that's a heinous crime. But so is this. So is trying to trying to have sexual relations with a child through a trafficking service.
Can I ask? Let me ask Campaign this. So there was a price. I don't know if it was $100 or $200, but then they're talking about an extra $10. What could they have possibly negotiated for an extra $10? That's what I'm trying to understand.
And and I'm gonna say, how's the best way I could say this? Maybe they wanted, maybe they want their. Some guys like having fetishes where they want.
Okay, so it's a weird fetish.
Yeah, it's a weird fetish. He might have just wanted his. Maybe can I say this? Maybe he wanted his anus leak?
I don't know if you can say that, but maybe. I don't know if you can say that, but obviously I'm just curious what.
Yeah,
somebody
I don't know, man. Hey, it's
$10
$10 extra.
And you know what?
That's like a Big Mac and fries.
It's very possible that his wife of 27 years didn't want to give him oral sex.
Right.
Okay.
It's simple like that.
It could be a
Listen, ladies,
situation
if you
where
ain't going to
he's-
do it, somebody will.
Right.
Here's
Well,
what I can say.
he's not getting satisfaction at home, and he's pursuing it
Right.
elsewhere, and
Okay,
that's what happens a lot of the time with prostitution.
Here's what I just found out. I just got a little bit of information here from our producer. I don't know how I could say this on the air, but this is what he was trying to get. Besides oral sex, he was trying to go into another orifice, and I'm not going to say what that is, but that's what he was trying to attempt to gain. And to gain access to, so to speak,
like the eighth planet.
Yes, you could
And
the Hershey Highway.
I think
so to speak.
it's also
Yes.
possible that maybe his wife isn't in the best physical shape, and this particular woman was, and he isn't in great physical shape himself, and they can't really get to specific positions because of the way that he's built and she's built.
I like the way you
that's
said
very
that.
possible too.
All right. Well, my condolences to this security guard. I hope he does get another job somewhere. Hopefully, he doesn't show up naked anywhere. When we come back, this is a guy I've been wanting to interview for a long time. Very talented, one of the best ventriloquists in the business. Man, is he good. Terry Fader will be joining us next on the show. There's a controversy with one of his Donald Trump puppets. We'll explain why. Coming up next, Terry Fader. This is the Vegas Take.